Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Farhana Shaira and I will start with the introduction part. Our research is to study aims to evaluate the mental health experiences and support system during COVID-19 pandemic among university students. Next, I will talk about the background of the study. The coronavirus disease 2019 has swept across the world causing global pandemic. Countries all over the world, including Malaysia, are greatly affected. There is no doubt that COVID-19 pandemic has affected the public's mental health status globally with an increase in the individual's depression, anxiety, and stress level. In Malaysia, the adults were also affected with a high percentage of anxiety and depression but not in terms of stress. Mass movements and gatherings across the country including religious, sports, social and cultural activities were prohibited. Public and private higher education institutions and skills training institutes nationwide also closed during that period. Although measures taken primarily reduced the outbreak of COVID-19 in Malaysia, measures such as lockdowns, strict isolations, social distancing, emergency remote teachings, and uncertainty and delays in commencements of schools, colleges, and universities have significant implications on students' social, psychological well-being and anxiety levels. Next, I will continue with the problem statement. Various experiences that have been felt by all parties such as employees, families, and even students. This is because the wave of COVID-19 epidemic has great implications for them. It affects students and they may experience mental health problems such as mood disorder, anxiety, and substance use disorders. On top of it, it becomes even worse when students have to go through classes and various events related to the university virtually. This was the time when almost all Malaysian educational institutions moved from a physical to a virtual mode of learning. This change in learning mode has contributed to mental health problems and psychological effects among university students. However, low performance shown by students during the pandemic era can also cause students to experience mental health problems such as stress and depression. This problem often happens to students who have problem interacting with the lecturer. When students do not consult with the lecturer about the problems they face, then their performance is unpredictable. In fact, most lecturers assume that they understand what they have learned. Therefore, it will affect their overall performance and facing a problem when answering exams, completing assignments and projects. And because of that, they will begin to feel stress and despair of continuing their studies. According to the research study, with the increased use of online learning platforms, the professors' abilities to continually monitor student performance and learning needs and then adjust what they teach or how they teach to improve students' learning become increasingly difficult. This study will contribute the latest evidence of findings on university students' mental health. And this study being conducted to know the relationship between the independent and dependent variable among university students. The result that we will get either positive or negative relationships. Now, I will continue with the research objective. First is to identify the level of mental health among university students. Second is to investigate the relationship between students' experiences during COVID-19 and mental health among university students. Third is to identify the relationship between support systems during COVID-19 outbreak and mental health among university students. Next, I will continue with research questions. First, what is the level of mental health among university students? Second, is there any relationships between students' experiences during COVID-19 and mental health among university students? Third, is there any relationships between support system during COVID-19 outbreak and mental health among university students?
The theory used in this study is the mental health continuum model. This model intended to explain the mental health status of people ranges on continuum. It also can be used as a tool for self-reflection and self-monitoring to teach people how to recognize signs and behavioral indication in themselves. Now we're going to research framework. There are 9 independent variables which are self-regulation, technology literacy competency challenges, student isolation, technological sufficiency, technological complexity, learning resources, learning environment, financial support, and social support. The dependent variable is mental health.
Next, I'm going to talk about hypothesis. For this study, we are using non-directional hypothesis. So there are 9 hypotheses that have been used for this study. So let's take a look one by one. So hypothesis number 1 is there is a significant relationship between self-regulation and mental health among university students. Number 2, there is a significant relationship between technological literacy and competency challenge and mental health among students. Hypothesis number 3, there is a significant relationship between student isolation and mental health among university students. Hypothesis number 4, there is a significant relationship between technological sufficiency and mental health among university students. Hypothesis number 5, there is a significant relationship between technological complexity and mental health among university students. Number 6, there is a significant relationship between learning resources and mental health among university students. Hypothesis number 7, there is a significant relationship between learning environment and mental health among university students. Hypothesis number 8, there is a significant relationship between financial support and mental health among university students. And last, which is hypothesis number 9, there is a significant relationship between support system and mental health among university students.
Hi, my name is Azwan Waisam Abdurrahim, and I will explain about the chapter 3, which is research methodology. Next, we look at the purpose of the study. So the type of study applied is causal research. Second, the main goal of causal research is to identify the cause and effect relationship between variable. Then, this study will investigate the linkage student experiences and support system with UiTM Puncak Alam students' mental health during COVID-19 outbreak. Then, this study should enable the researcher to measure the degree of each independent variable that cause mental health problem among UiTM Puncak Alam students. Now we look at the type of investigation. So the type of investigation for this study is correlational relationship. This study will investigate whether UiTM Puncak Alam students' experiences during COVID-19 outbreak has positively or negatively correlating with their mental health. And then this study also will investigate whether support system for UiTM Puncak Alam students during COVID-19 outbreak has positively or negatively correlating with their mental health. We look at the extent of research interference. So the study used a causal research to investigate the cause and effect relationship between variable. Then the study identified the cause of students' mental health due to effect of experiences and support system. Therefore, this study focused on the university student which has minimal interference with the normal flow of work. Next, study settings. So the study settings is significant in research. Then, the study settings nature, context, surrounding and logistic of the research may have an influence on how it is performed. Although the research is conducted within the UiTM Puncak Alam, this study has no specific setting because the research is conducted in natural circumstance. Next, unit of analysis. The unit of analysis for the study is individuals. So, the individuals means that the student in UiTM Puncak Alam Selangor. Next, time horizon. Time horizon of the study is single cross-sectional design. It gathers data from one sample of respondent from the target group, which is semester 5 Faculty of Education FE students. Next, we look at the population. So the population describes the entire group of people. The population for this study is 300, which are semester 5 Faculty of Education FE students. So the FE student consists of 7 courses from bachelor degree, which is first, Bachelor of TESOL ED 241, second, Bachelor of Art and Design ED 242, Third, Bachelor of Physical and Health Education, ED 246. 4. Bachelor of Science Biology, ED 247. 5. Bachelor of Science Physics, ED 248. 6. Bachelor of Science Mathematics, ED 249. And 7. Bachelor of Science Chemistry, ED 260. Next, we look at the sample size. So the sample size is the subset of a population to ensure there is enough data to make conclusion. The sample size for this study is 174 students from all courses, which consists of Semester 5 Faculty of Education FE only. Next, sampling techniques. So this study used a probability sampling technique, which is stratified random sampling. According to article published in 2017, stratified random sampling is when the element of the target population are separated into smaller group, which is strata. From this research, we are able to obtain the sample population that represent the entire group of people for this study. Next is survey instrument. This study used an online questionnaire from Google Form. Then it consists of 68 total of questionnaire divided into 4 sections. Section A, demographic information. Section B, focus on student mental health level. Section C, focus on students' experiences and challenges. And Section D, focus on student support systems.
For the finding and discussions, based on the data that we have collected from 175 respondents, there are 53.1% are male and 46.9% are female. For the age, respondents aged in the range of 23 to 25 years old were the highest in engaging in this study. Next, the higher number of respondents were from Bachelor of Education TESOLs and Bachelor of Education Physical and Health Education students, which are at 16.6%, while the lowest number of respondents were from Bachelor of Science Education Chemistry, Bachelor of Education Art and Design Education, and Bachelor of Science Education Biology. These three were at 13.1%. And lastly, in terms of semester, the higher were from Part 5, which is 49.7%, then followed by Part 3 with 14.3%, while the lowest number were those from Part 4, which is 10.9%.
Next, normality result. So the normal range of normality result is between negative 3.00 until 3.00, indicating that the data is normally distributed. Then the lowest and highest for skewness recorded for this study is negative 0.959 and 0.230. Then the lower and highest for kurtosis recorded is negative 1.220 and 0.515. All skewness and kurtosis value for each variable recorded shows not less than negative 3.00 and not more than 3.00. Thus, the result for both IV and DV variable have a normal distribution.
Next is reliability analysis. For the dependent variable, which is mental health, crunch batch alpha is 0.84. It is considered as a reliable internal consistency. Next, for the independent variable, first is the crunch batch alpha for self-regulation challenge is 0.94. Second, technological literacy and competency challenges is 0.94. Third, student isolation challenges is 0.92. Fourth, technological sufficiency challenge is 0.96. Fifth, technological complexity challenges is 0.94. 6. Learning resources challenges is 0.96. And 7. Learning environment challenges is 0.93. 8. Financial support is 0.9. And lastly, support system is 0.94. All of these variables considered also as a reliable internal consistency. The mean and standard deviation. For dependent variable, which is the mental health, the mean is 3.298 and the standard deviation is 0.832. For the independent variable, first, the mean and standard deviation for self-regulation challenge is 3.345 and 1.135 respectively. Second, the mean for technological literacy and competency challenge is 3.014 and the standard deviation is 1.205. Third, student isolation challenge. The mean for this variable is 3.310 and the standard deviation is 1.176. Fourth, the mean for technological sufficiency challenge is 3.094 and the standard deviation is 1.215. Fifth, technological complexity challenge, the mean is 3.097 and the standard deviation is 1.263. 6. The mean and the standard deviation for learning resources challenge is 3.136 and 1.221 respectively. 7th, the means for learning environment challenge is 3.435 and the standard deviation is 1.145. 8 is financial support. The means for this variable is 3.402 and the standard deviation is 1.074. And lastly, support systems. The mean is 3.871 and the standard deviation is 0.899.
From the result of Pearson's correlations analysis, all variables are significant except social support. There are and shows a positive significant relationship between independent variables which are self-regulation challenge, technological literacy and competency challenges, student isolation challenges, technological sufficiency challenges, technological complexity challenges, learning resource challenges, learning environment challenges and financial support, and dependent variables, mental health. In contrast, there are variables that show a negative significant relationship between independent variables, which is social support, and dependent variables, mental health. In this study, the regression analysis is used to measure how many percent of dependent variables, mental health, can be explained by the independent variables, which are self-regulation challenge, technological literacy and competency challenges, student isolation challenges, technological sufficiency challenges, technological complexity challenges, learning resource challenges, learning environment challenges, financial support, and social support.
For the hypothesis result, only the relationship between self-regulation and mental health among students and the relationship between support system and mental health among university students is supported, while the others are not.
Last but not least, discussion and conclusion. Firstly is the discussion on relationship between independent variables and dependent variables. So based on Pearson correlation analysis, it can be concluded that there are 8 variables are significant with mental health, with their significant level is p-value less than 0.001. So those 8 variables are self-regulation challenge, technology literacy and competency challenge, student isolation, technology sufficiency, technology complexity, learning resources, learning environment, and last but not least, financial support. In addition, these 8 variables are showing a positive relationship, while the only one, which is the social support, is showing a negative relationship. So there is a positive significant relationship. The strength of the relationship of social support is R equal to 0.052 with the significant level which is 0.492. Variables are the weak downhill linear relationship. In contrast, the self-regulation challenge show the weak uphill linear relationship, which the R equal to 5.525 with the significant level 0.001. Next, on discussion on relationship between independent variables and dependent variables. So for the regression analysis, the model of the summary shows that it's a significant due to the significant level of being less than 0.05, which is as shows at the result, p-value is less than 0.05. So the model showing is also fixed as the value of Durbin-Watson is more than 1, which is the Durbin-Watson score is 1.842. So according to R square, the R square result is 0.345, indicates that 35 of variance in independent variables contribute to the variance in independent variables. So another 65.5% is contributed by the other factors. So based on the study, it can be concluded that there are only two independent variables that are significant with the dependent variables, which are self-regulation challenge with the P is 0.02 less than 0.05 and social support with the P is equal to 0.002, which is less than 0.05. So in addition, the most influent factors associated with mental health among Part 5 University student of Faculty Education in UiTM Puncak Alam are self-regulation challenge, which the beta value is 0.326, followed by the social support with the beta value is 0.212. So in conclusion, the result shows that there are only 7 factors that shows a positive significant relationship between independent variables and dependent variables, which is the independent variables involved are self-regulation challenge, student isolation, technology sufficiency, technological complexity, learning resources, learning environment, and last but not least, financial support. And there are only 1 factors that shows a negative significant relationship, which is the social support.
Based on regression analysis result, all 9 independent variables explain 34.5% of the variance independent variable. Meanwhile, the balance of 65.5% of variance in mental health is not explained by the independent variable, which means there are other independent variables that are not included in this study and could strengthen the regression equation.